Let me bang.
I do let you bang. Hey,
let me bang you, James, man.
I let you bang. I let you bang.
Greetings, marriage and virgins.
Go for Jesus. No forget Jesus, people.
Hey, I'm not surprised, motherfuckers.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time once again for your favorite mixed martial arts podcast. Recording out of Los Angeles, California, it's MMA Roasted with Adam Hunter.
Who the fuck is that guy? Who the fuck is that?
Hey, everyone, welcome to Brandon MMA Roasted Podcast. It's me, Adam Hunter. I'm here with the legend, Don Frye. Looking good, man. Looking good.
Hey, Bert. Yeah. Thank you. How are you doing, partner?
I'm doing good, man. How are you feeling?
Feel more like I do now than I did when I first got here.
Now, your eyebrows are thicker than most people's mustaches at this point. It's like you have two mustaches above your eyes. It's pretty.
Yeah, absolutely. My brain mustaches, you know.
Did you have a full head of
brain, right brain.
When you came out? You had a full head of hair.
When I what?
When you came out of your mom's womb, did you have a full head of hair? Your balls were all hairy, the whole thing.
Of course, man. Of course. I was
right.
like a little chimpanzee, you know, little baby mountain gorilla.
Nice. So anyway, things are good, man. I had a show last week in Palm Springs. If you don't know Palm Springs, it's a very gay area, beautiful area, really nice people. But of course, I was there when it was like the downtown lesbian festival. So I walked in with my family, and there was drag queen bingo in the hotel. Literally drag queen. You would have loved it. So that was kind of cool. And then the audience was like a lot of transgenders, well, a couple actually, like 7 or 8 gay dudes who were the best, lesbians. They were the most fun crowd. I'm telling you, man, like it was pretty damn awesome. And I guess they had a thing. It was called the Dinah Shore weekend, but I kept getting it confused with Donna Summer weekends. I kept calling it Donna. Oh, I know it's Donna Summer weekend here. And there was a transgender front who I said probably gives the best handies here because she's had the most experience. You know, because she was dying, clapping, yada yada. There was a dog in a stroller at one point. It was a good time. You would have fit in great there, Don. So you would.
Yeah, I bet. I had a great time. Yeah, would have had a ball.
Did you watch? So as far as fights go, so Mayweather's bouncer fought last week. Did you watch that?
No.
Okay, so Floyd Mayweather fought in Japan. I guess he's been continuously fighting in Japan. I guess he's doing these like things where they're just paying him lots of money to fight. I don't know if they're fixed. They all seem like 3-4 rounders, but nobody ever really comes close to beating him. Some guy led a couple shots, but on the undercard, Mayweather's bouncer fought a guy named Jizzy, and he's all like juiced out of his mind. The guy looks like and he got the shit beaten out of him by a guy that was 50 pounds lighter, but it was a real fighter. And then there was a clip to Mayweather watching this go down, and he's like, I don't know. If you're not a fighter and you haven't really practiced that long, and you've only been doing it, whatever, why would you get into a ring with a professional Thai fighter who's been doing this whole life?
Because people on steroids are fucking out of their mind. You know, they think that just lifting weights and looking good at a beer somehow makes them give them the ability to fight, and it does not. They're two different situations. You know, lifting weights, flexing from a mirror, and lifting weights and fighting are completely different.
But haven't we already like? But
you know, on steroids, you get delusional.
Is that what it is? I mean, I guess they offered him money, and he probably was like, you know, blah, 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 like, oh, you know, how hard can this guy hit? But I mean, haven't we seen this movie 1,000 times already?
Yeah, people aren't smart enough. I mean, you know how many fucking people sit there and say, "Oh, I could be a fighter. I could be a fighter." You've ever been punched in the face? No. You've been in a fight? No. Well, then how do you know you can be a fighter?
That was like, I almost sold that show called So You Think You're a Tough Guy, where I drive around in a truck and the truck turns into like an octagon and people can like challenge the person in there until I fight them. I came pretty damn close to actually selling it. Trying to find Floyd Jizzy. But yeah, it was crazy. But Floyd didn't seem to care at all that his main bodyguard got destroyed. I mean, is that guy still going to have a job, you think?
Not if Floyd's smart, no, but not as a bodyguard. He might be a driver or a gopher, but no, he's pretty worthless as a bodyguard.
Did you see this at all?
No.
Greg?
What was it? No.
So I guess in Japan and in Ryzen, Mayweather fought, and then Mayweather's bouncer fought.
Bouncer or bodyguard?
Oh, I know his bodyguard. His bodyguard is a guy named Jizzy, who's just sort of like,
Can we just start with the name? I mean, come on. What? Jizzy? And then what's his other bodyguard's name? Skeet? And then he's got another guy. It's just it's called Cum Guzzler. I mean, come on. What is this fucking name?
Yeah, and he got fucked up. So all right, so this I'm gonna show replays from the fight between Jizzy and so and it got worse after that.
Long way to go here, David.
So
it got worse.
It actually got worse. Yeah, hold on. So
Koji knows what's going on.
So Jizzy's getting knocked out by the cum koozie.
like, I mean, why would this guy think that's a good idea?
Why was any of this happening? God damn it. Hey, listen, it is at least, but I mean, Floyd, it's like he's taking these silly exhibition just for money matches now. And it's like, come on, dude. Like, you're a real fighter. Fight a real fight. Fight a real contender. Make it a real thing. What is this shit?
But he said he doesn't want to get in shape. He only wants to fight YouTube stars and MMA guy. That's what he said.
Well, there you go. This is
Yeah.
what Jake Paul created. And so long as they sell out arenas and we show it and there's pay-per-views, why wouldn't you? It's all free money.
Oh man. So we got to talk about this guy, Rob O'Reilly. So on this Carnival cruise ship, this comedian got in trouble for saying the N-word. Yep. And a couple things. First of all, I know this guy from like 15 years ago when I was running rooms out here at the Westwood Brewing Company. He was new to town and he asked to take over. He asked the place to do a show on a different night, which kind of annoying. Okay. All right. Then he starts promoting his show during my show to the audience while they're in the crowd.
Man.
So, of course, I was like, dude, you can't, if you want to do a show, blah, 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 but don't go up to my crowd during the show. Anyway, 9 years later, the kid writes me a letter saying, hey, I was new. I'm really sorry. I never should have done that. And I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. Like, I had forgotten about it, like, that's fucking awesome. A couple times people have like done that, which I've actually, it goes a long way when someone apologizes for something they did a while back. And I try to do it if it's on my mind. I remember this one comic from Buffalo said, hey man, I want to let you know, I like stole your joke. I did your joke. And I'm really sorry. I know you never would have found out, but I did it and I apologize. So I wrote him back and I said, listen, man, it takes a big person to admit that. And thank you. Then he writes back, can I still do it? I was like, no, you fucking asshole. So anyway, so Rob O'Reilly is on a Carnival cruise line, and there's a huge uproar on Twitter among comedians because he allegedly said the N-word. A woman came to the show and made a video saying this woman was black, said the N-word. I didn't hear it. Then he kicked us out. There's a video of him saying, like, if you're easily offended, get the fuck out. Now, they do make announcements, if you're easily offended, get the fuck out. So he was just repeating that thing. But here's where things are getting dangerous a little bit. There's no video of him actually saying the N-word. literally, I haven't seen the video. So I'm not saying this person is lying, but now people could just be like, oh, this comedian said that, you know, Jews suck or something, or whatever it is, and then making a video, and then the person gets fired. I would like to see the actual video of him saying that. Now, if he did see the video,
that's called evidence. That's called evidence, in fact, and that has no place in society today.
Not in social justice.
No.
now
Social justice is just another fancy, term for mob mentality. That's all it is. Now with this, I mean, there's a reason I don't do colleges anymore. I mean, sometimes you just don't. It isn't. I listen. I don't care about the material as long as you're funny, freedom of speech, whatever. You know what I mean? We don't know the context. I would need to hear the joke. Blah 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 blah. The problem is he did it on a cruise ship, and cruise ships are notoriously tight about language, about how you treat the audience. Like you've talked about it many times on this show. One bad review and they're calling you in the office. And this isn't even a fucking situation like this. I remember when I was doing colleges and everything that I was doing, we're like, can you not do this? You not do that? And halfway through the tour, and I'm like, I got no jokes left. They've complained about everything. And I remember telling I emailed my agent and I said, please, no more afternoon lunch shows. And she emailed me back and said, maybe you just shouldn't do colleges.
Yeah.
And I couldn't argue with her. I I was like, you're right.
Well,
maybe I shouldn't do colleges. I was done with it then. I was burned out.
If he said the N-word, and literally the actual word, not the N-word, then obviously, yeah, that was but I know this guy. He's a good comic. I don't think he would just say the N-word. And if she misheard him and he didn't say it, and now he's fired, his whole life is ruined, that's fucked up. If he did say it, then he should obviously be fired. And you don't say that in your act. But he's a pretty bright guy. This guy he's written for a lot of shows. I can't see him thinking this would be okay to say the N-word. I just want to see proof of it, and I'd like to see the video of it.
You got to think before they fired him. Ostensibly, they would have asked the staff that was there at the time, did he say that? And someone must have said, yeah, he fucking said it. And then pop. I mean, she's not, whoever put this out there wasn't the only person there. And these shows, they've got staff everywhere. Yeah, but when those staff don't give a fuck about you. They're not going to cover your ass. They're going to cover their own ass.
But when he said, get the fuck out, everyone was cheering for him, right? Everyone was like on his side in the video, which makes me think that he didn't say it, or that it was in some crazy context where, because the crowds they're mixed crowds. It's not like a Klan rally at these fucking cruise ships.
Totally.
A lot of times they're very black, they're very Mexican, so they're all behind him. I just want to see what happened. I don't think I'm asking too much, but before he gets
you are if there is no tape that exists. I mean, I'm glad that you want to see what happened, but that ain't good.
You don't want to see what happened. You're not curious. You're not curious as to what happened.
Of course I am. Of course I am. I listen. I'm just saying. Not every guy's cut out for everything. And it sounds like he's not cut out for cruise. There's a reason I don't do cruise ships. There's a reason a lot of guys don't do cruise ships and colleges. Sometimes you go where you fit in. Some guys are club comics and should stay in clubs. And some guys can do cruises like that and other guys can't.
I just can't see him being dumb enough to think that it's okay to say the N-word in a joke. That's...
Again, they must have asked somebody else. I'm sure they didn't just go with what they must have. There's plenty of staff in the room. I'm sure somebody they had to have asked the staff. Yeah. Did he say that?
Yeah.
I don't think they did. I think that takes too much effort, and people are too fucking lazy nowadays. I think one fucking dumb broad Karen went in there and complained.
Now, the one Karen thing is enough to get him fired. Absolutely. Again, Adam has spoken to this many times in the show. Absolutely. But I'm just saying that other people were there, and they always consult with the staff. That's just the way it goes. Anytime there's a controversy, they go to because they know that the artist, and rightfully should defend himself.
But
so
if he didn't say it, right? If he didn't say it, like I record all my sets,
right?
If he did not say it, and he could prove it, you think he has a lawsuit?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that is wrongful termination. If he has that recording and he can prove that he did not say that, what he can't do is release a recording where he says it and goes, but see, the audience loved it.
Right.
It doesn't matter at that point. There's certain venues that you know what you're getting into, and there's certain boundaries you can't cross in those venues.
You think he could sue TMZ also?
What?
Think he could also sue TMZ?
Nah, they're a rumor mill. That's what they do.
Right. All right. Well, anyway, another thing. Have you watched this documentary on Action Park?
Yes, I love it. It's so
Did you ever
great.
go there as a kid?
Class Action Park.
Did you ever go there as a kid?
I didn't grow up in that area. I grew up in Dallas. I moved to New York, but I thought that documentary is hilarious. Oh my God, it's crazy.
When I was a kid in Long Island, maybe my friends used to go to this place called Action Park. You would take the bus there, a 4-hour bus ride. This is how bad supervision I had when I was fucking 10 and 11. I would just, me and my friends would just go on the bus. This is back then you could do stuff like that.
Yeah, sure.
We went to this water park where literally kids would get broken shoulders, heads, injuries, like they would lose limbs. And it was the greatest time I've ever had.
It's a different world back then, man. We could do shit like that. And nowadays, you can't even fucking walk outside without a helmet on. Come on.
Well, you know what? That brings up an interesting question. And I'm just wondering about this because I've thought about this a lot and I don't know where the truth in this situation is. But okay, so I don't think the world changed. What I think did change was the amount of media we consume reporting on the things that were always happening. We just never really heard about them before. So if they didn't happen in your town or in an adjacent town, you felt safe. Until some shit like that happened in your town. But now, because we're bombarded with every instance of it that happens, that were always happening, just not near you, that I think we feel like all this stuff is escalated and it's just more than it's ever been. And I think it's the same amount it's always been. We just heard about it a lot more. So we're just wildly more paranoid about it. Whereas before, because we didn't hear about it a lot, we just weren't that paranoid about it. So we just kind of went on with our lives.
That's the same thing with global warming bullshit. Hurricanes, bullshit. Hurricanes have always been around here. Tornadoes always been around here. But we never got, now you got 24-hour news. You got to hear about everything happening everywhere. Every time somebody farts, it goes on the fucking news for a day. And,
That's true. I agree with that.
But with that, bombarded with it, and it costs more. There's more loss of everything nowadays. So it costs more to build and repair these things. So yeah, it's going to cost. Yeah, the loss is going to be greater.
I just think with climate change, I feel like there's a little more empirical evidence, especially when it comes to certain, the polar ice caps melting and stuff.
I think you both have good points, to be honest.
I do think that one's a little bit different, but I do believe a lot of this is, there is certain evidence to your point, Don, and I'm going to agree with you in this regard. Like the water levels just went all the way low, like in some lake in Germany, and they found these letters inscribed that were like, if you see these letters, now is the time to weep. But that also means that some other time, a hundred years ago, the water levels dropped to that level then too. They had a mega drought during the. So I would say, to your point, Don, there is certain evidence that says, sometimes the world is cyclical and these things happen. But there is also a mountain of evidence in the other direction that I'm more inclined to go with. But I'm just saying there is. I see where you have a point, Don, and I can absolutely agree with it to a certain degree.
Okay, did you take 3rd or 5th grade science?
I took 10th grade debate.
All right, but listen.
Did you pay attention to it?
This is about Action Park.
What happens to a liquid when it freezes?
It freezes. It expands. Is that what you're asking?
What?
It expands?
Oh my God, it expands. So how come if the ice was to melt, the ocean would get higher? How would that happen?
Because water's released into the ocean that before was trapped in its ice shape in a particular location that didn't move.
But it was pushed out. The water expands when it's frozen.
But these are megatons of ice that had remained ice for hundreds of years that are now becoming water,
which reduces the level of the ocean.
No, it raises it.
No, the ice pushes the water out.
The ice expanded up, not out.
No. Look at the iceberg. 90% of your iceberg's below. Correct?
Yes, but we're talking about Arctic shelves. We're not talking about they become icebergs, but they don't start that way.
Right, but they're frozen and they push it out. They're driving out and they're expanding the water away from the Arctic shelf. Okay, onto the beaches. So once those Arctic shelves melt, then the water will recede because it's not being pushed away.
And this has been two guys who don't know what they're talking about.
Okay, listen, I was talking about Action Park. Okay.
Action Park.
All right. So Don, this guy, the point is, I think that Greg has a point. Don, you have a point where you just heard things. You heard 3 people died in Action Park, but you couldn't confirm it. Back in the day, you couldn't confirm shit. So you're like, oh, it didn't happen, or I'm not going to look at it.
It'll be fine. Exactly.
It'll be fine. So this guy basically worked on Wall Street. He ended up getting kicked off for penny stocks and all kinds of fraud. He gets all this money and he buys these like land that have these ski resorts, turns into a waterfall park, an action park, a water park, but has no idea what he's doing. So he hires these other guys that keep getting fired from trying to design things in Disneyland. He starts designing waterfalls and parks his own way. He starts like, oh, put this there. And he uses kids as props.
To test it. Yeah,
he gives kids $100 to go through a fucking tube. And basically, if teeth get knocked out or your head get bumped, it's like, oh, didn't work that well. So they opened up this water park and he faked his own insurance company because you couldn't get insurance for this. So he basically invented an insurance company and somehow didn't get arrested for any of this, at least to where I'm a part of the documentary. Like he basically
and he must be a liberal Democrat.
He just
they get away with everything.
The guy stopped paying rent and somehow it worked in his favor. He made the property so much that nobody wanted it that he could buy it back. But dude, this water park was a hazard on so many levels. I remember going there and they had this thing called the Tarzan swing. People would go in there.
Yeah.
And it would be surrounded by kids from Jersey yelling, "You pussy, you fuck pussy, pussy," if you let go.
Yeah.
And then girls' tops would fucking fly off and everyone started applauding. The guys would show their dick. I mean, teenagers ran this place that had they weren't lifeguards. It was complete fucking chaos. But it was amazing. I can't believe that this place existed. But now looking back, you're like I always thought that it was me. Like, oh, I just happened to just not go down the water slide right. That's why I have a huge burn on my arm or my shoulder was out of socket. I had no idea that the things were designed that way. It's crazy. It's fucking crazy. I mean, Don, you must have had a similar experience even in your fighting. Like, did you ever think like in some of your fights, like, this is just not set up for me to do well?
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, you get suckered, and they tell you one thing and you believe it, and but that you're an adult. There's a difference. I was an adult. You were a child. Okay?
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
As far as parenting though, did you have any parental supervision growing up or no?
Did I what?
Have any parental supervision?
Yeah, well, I had more coaches because I was an athlete my whole life, since I was 5 years old. So yeah, I always had parental supervision, because you go to school and then you go to practice afterwards.
Right.
And then you go home, eat dinner, pretend like you do homework, you go to bed.
No, I had 2 older brothers, and it's amazing the way when you have brothers, they just assume you're watching out for each other. They just act like you have it, and really, no one. We didn't. Mark Chris would go there with his friends. Mark go over there, and growing up in Texas, every creek was an action park. It was. We had rope swings with no, that we made ourselves, forts that were made out of, broken wood we'd find in an abandoned house. We had all, and God forbid it actually rained and there was water in that. Now we're going to go out there and try and find frogs or whatever. And we didn't care how fast it was running. We're trying to get out. I mean, yeah, listen, Texas, rural Texas is its own action park for kids.
What's up, people? Football is back, and BetOnline is your number one source for all football betting needs and sports info this season. Find all the latest football odds, news, and game matchups, including this year's opening week games. BetOnline is your continued source for all your wagering information, including live betting, free contests, and live scores. Always the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports and events, including MLB, MMA, tennis, boxing, even golf. Head over to betonline.ag to join and receive your 100% welcome bonus with your first deposit. Make sure to use promo code CLNS50 to receive your rewards. BetOnline, where the game starts.
Sean, were you a very hands-on parent?
Yeah, extremely. I actually was usually disciplining others' kids more than like other people's kids more than mine. Like I was at this place they call Great Times. It's kind of like a higher class Chuck E. Cheese here. My daughter was like 2 years old. And one time I'll never forget, this kid was like 6 or 7, came through the ball pit and pushed her down like really hard from behind to knock her out of the way so he could get through. And like she fell down and started screaming. So I grabbed him and launched him like 15 feet across the ball pit into the wall.
That sounds right. That sounds right. That's good parenting.
Yeah. And then dared his parents to say anything or just like try anything. So I told them they'd be next. And then, it got weird, but I would find myself a lot straightening out other people's kids and disciplining the parents even at times.
Did you ever go to the parent-teacher conferences?
No, not usually. My kids were never in trouble or anything, so it was always. I try to stay hands off when it came to education. No, I'm just kidding. But no, it's no. My kids were always straight A students and didn't have any problems with any behavior stuff or anything like that. I did have a teacher try to change my son's grade one time based on him talking after all the tests had been turned in. She tried to give him a 0 on a test, and I'm paying like $1,200 a month per kid for the school. Like they might as well be sending them to college, like it's like in 8th grade, you know what I mean, or whatever, private schooling. And I actually brought up to the teacher the fact that you can't change grades based on behavior. Like you can't do that. It's not like it's cheating or something. And she said she'd do what she wanted. So I actually got a lawyer and sent the school a letter and explained to them that they would be sued because they took government funding, even though they were a private school. And they were like looking at losing their government funding, because if you can give bad grades for bad behavior, you can also give good grades for good behavior, which is why you have a bunch of kids who can't read or write when they graduate. You know what I mean? Because they're past them just as long as they come to class. So they had to get reminded of a bunch of stuff. And that grade got changed to, because the test was already gone, the grade got changed to 100%. So really what he got on the test, but it got changed to 100% after they got my lawyer's letter.
Dude, that was my high school. My high school that I went to, the boarding school, you got an attitude grade and an achievement grade. So you could like get a 60, but if you tried really hard, they would give you 100. They would merge
right.
It. They had like 99% of the kids went out to college after high school, and like 30% stayed there after freshman year when they realized it's not how the real world works. Like,
that's what I was going to say. It's exactly how the real world works, right? As long as you try hard, it doesn't matter if you achieve.
So you missed it in Japan. Floyd Mayweather's bodyguard got knocked out by a guy 50 pounds lighter than him in boxing, and then Mayweather won his fight.
Wait, you forgot the air quotes around fight.
Right. I was going to say someone forgot to fix his bodyguard's fight. Just his. They forgot to ring that.
Exactly. He won his fight. Hey, come to Japan and put on gloves and, get in a ring and shorts and do this for a minute. We'll give you $60 million. So
I'll never forget when Mayweather came to my comedy show, Michael Blackson's show, and I was opening. He had a girl on each arm and one girl whose whole job was to massage his head for the entire show. An hour and a half. That was her job, was the head masseuse.
You can get that in Vegas, but it costs a little extra.
All right.
Fucking crazy. Now, have you watched Cobra Kai, everybody, the last season?
The last scene, most of it, honestly, I felt like it jumped the shark. And I know we have a good friend, Brett Ernst, that's in it. Two friends, actually, Dan and Dude as well. But I felt like the show just jumped the shark. I gave up.
That's sadly, I was the biggest Cobra Kai fan that ever. I was telling people about the show from the very first day. It was like on
when it was on YouTube.
Yeah. This season was so ridiculous, dude. When they started stabbing people with swords and stuff and having a karate fight, a karate rumble every 5 minutes, you know what I mean, or whatever on the show, it's just like, dude, come on, man. Like, I'm a big Terry Silver fan, but I doubt he's stabbing people in his home. Well, actually, that is something Terry Silver would probably do, but. It just got completely out of control, man. Like, I don't even know that I'll watch it.
But they made Johnny not the main character. When he was the main character,
right?
It was hilarious. And then all of a sudden, they threw in everybody that has ever watched Cobra Kai to begin the show. But there was one thing that was noticeable. So remember, like, he came back and the redhead girlfriend from Karate Kid 3. Remember the redhead? Yeah. So she came back and she looks pretty good now. She still looks pretty good, right? Like, she aged well. But the whole time I'm wondering, like that wasn't his girlfriend in Karate Kid 3. Like they were just friends, but they never like kissed or went out on a date. So I looked it up. She was 16 and he was 26 in Karate Kid 3. So legally they couldn't kiss, like on set or anything.
Yeah.
Like, why wouldn't they just cast a different actress who was 20? Like, why did they have
She's probably related to the writer.
I was about to say, Don, you nailed it. I was going to say she's related to some executive that's like, no, my daughter's the one. Trust me. LA, Hollywood runs on nepotism. And so if they want their kid to be in it, their kid's going to be in it. And that's just the way shit goes.
But it was like he was like a groomer in the because the whole time they were just friends. Like, why is he hanging out with a 16-year-old?
Well, if you notice, she asked him out till she got to know him a little bit. Then she realized what a douchebag Daniel LaRusso was and saw him dance. And she was like, yeah, like, I got a boyfriend. We're going to give it another try. Like, she had enough of, like, you don't start out a conversation by saying, oh, you got to be my best friend, some 75-year-old Asian guy. You know what I mean? Like, it's a little odd.
Yeah, that was.
I got a good one for you that I don't know if you guys have ever noticed, but you remember in Karate Kid 2 when he broke the 6 pieces of ice?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was given 3-to-1 odds for $600. And Mr. Miyagi fronted the money. And then so they got 3-to-1 at 600. They made $1,800 on that transaction. Miyagi takes half of it, gives Daniel LaRusso the other half, and tells him that'll pay for his college education. Like, where the hell is he going to college for $900 for? Like, is he going to the University of Phoenix? Like, what is going on? I remember him saying, like, you get college education. And he was a kid thinking college can't be only $900.
I think that's Cal State Dominguez Hills. That's what that sounds like, yeah.
Dude, there was so much of it. I mean, even in Karate Kid 3, I mean, in the last Cobra Kai, which I'm sorry we're spoiling it for everybody, but like at the very end with like Stingray, like Stingray comes back and the whole thing is like he cheated in the tournament. Everyone's like, oh, he paid him off. But Stingray is right there. Like, he could have been like, oh, he also kicked the shit out of me. And I also some guy. And some guy's in prison because of me. Like, that's, I think false impersonating is a little bit more idea than like paying someone off to fix the tournament. It was just, but you got to admit when the bad coach, whatever his name is, when he beats up everyone in jail, that was pretty cool. When he's a running.
I would just like
to say to everyone listening to this podcast, if you're wondering when we'd get to MMA, you're welcome. You're welcome. We got to it. Karate Kid 3, Robin Lively.
I would have liked to. I would like to if they've gotten rid of the entire high school, like all the characters, like from the high school thing, except Hawk's girlfriend. They can leave her in there as far as I'm concerned. But all the rest of the high school storylines I could do without, man. Like, they need to just make it about Johnny and Daniel. I think it would have been better. Like,
I like how he finds his dad in Mexico in like 6 minutes.
Right. Yeah. Just the first Javier he walks up to is, oh yeah, you're Javier. Like, of course. Like, that's pretty easy to find.
It was like so stupid. All right. So
in case you haven't watched it, no, you don't have to. We covered it for you right here on MMA Roasted.
Fights this weekend. The main event. UFC Vegas 61, which they said they're not doing any kind of press for. The UFC is doing a closed press conference.
So they're taking the Bellator route. They're like still in Bellator's marketing.
Yeah. Yeah. They're going, wait a minute. I thought it was UFC Fight Night was this weekend.
UFC Vegas, October 1st, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a fight night.
Oh, it says UFC Vegas 61. I think the same thing. It's UFC. It's Dern versus Xiaonan.
Xiaonan.
Yeah. So that's the main event. I know, Don. Are you very excited about this one?
Oh, I'm just fucking on the pins and needles, man. I can't wait. I'm wondering if what the odds are if Dern doesn't make weight. You know that?
Well, Dern isn't making weight. It's the other girl, Aspen Ladd, who missed it 3 times in a row. Dern had a problem.
So did Dern.
No, she missed it early on. Then she got pregnant, had a kid, and then she's made weight since. She seemed to have gotten like better shape after having a kid, which is also strange. But so Mackenzie Dern versus Ionin, right? I'm fucking it up. The girl, Dern's 29. The other girl's 33. This fight's at 115. Should be a good fight. I think Mackenzie's gonna win. I don't know why. I just think she's gonna win. She's been looking great. She's been actually looking better than she has. It seems like losing was the best thing for her because it had the pressure off her. She had a lot of pressure coming in as this, girl that submitted Gabby Garcia in jiu-jitsu, and her father was this like jiu-jitsu phenom and yada, yada, yada. And it seems that she's got that off her chest and she seems to be better. Greg.
That screeching sound you hear is the sound of the UFC scraping the bottom of the barrel to try and build up some female fighters because there's just not enough of them, I guess. And, making this a headlining match is a bit silly. I couldn't tell you. Sure. Like, Jan, I don't know. I mean, Dern, I think I've seen her fight twice, didn't make much of an impression on me to where I'm like, you gotta watch out for her. So again, I feel like the UFC is just trying to build up some female names by putting them at the top of these cards. But that doesn't mean that they necessarily, should be the top fight there. That's that particularly interesting to me. So I don't know.
She's coming off a win against Isha Torres. She lost to Marina Rodriguez. She beat Nina Nunez, Amanda Nunez's wife. And then Shana Yan, she lost. She's on a 2-fight losing streak. Lost to Carla Esparza, lost to Marina Rodriguez. She beat Claudia Gadella. She beat Angela Hill. She beat Carolina. She's lost. So I don't know. It should be. It's weird to make it the main event. I agree.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the co-main event, sure. Okay, it's a 5 versus a 6. Dig it. But the main event, I don't know. I think they put on maybe too many events, and I think they've definitely gone through their female fighters way too fast. So,
by the way, you guys watched last week? Yoel Romero beat what's his name? Who am I thinking of? You know what I'm talking about? The guy whose coach trained you, and you're like, who's this guy, Sean?
What? The coach trained me.
Remember the guy was giving you tips? You're like, who the hell is this guy?
Oh yeah,
Manhoff.
Manhoff. He beat the shit out of Manhoff, and afterwards tried to eat the cage. He got up and started putting his let me see if I can find. Hold on. Let me see if I can find that. But
that tells you how hard a weight cut is.
That's what I was just saying. Exactly how much weight did he cut for this fight? Good Lord.
When you're like, okay, fight's over. I'll just eat the cage.
But I mean, it was pretty outstanding though. Hold on, but he looks great. I mean, he looks like okay. Hold on a second. All right, hold on. So
did he stand with Manhoff at all, or did he take him down right away?
A little bit standing, and then taking him down and just killing him. I mean, he just killed him. It was predictable. Hold on, here we go. Okay, this is him barking.
Here we go. Hey, Benson Henderson won one. Yeah. He won a decision versus Peter Qualley.
Looks like they need to check him for distemper or something. From what I know about dogs, man, like that was some odd barking after a fight.
You're supposed to take bull or horse steroids, not dog steroids.
Yeah.
There we go. There's that
Uh,
science.
also-
That's just science.
Also,
Right.
Randy Brown, who goes by Rude Boy, who's from Jamaica. He's 15-4. He's coming off a win over Kalen Williams, Jared Gooden, Alex Oliveira. He's taking on Francisco Trinaldo, that guy's got to be like 80 years old. He's 44 years old. He goes by Massa Randuba. But he's won his last 2 fights. Dwight Grant, Danny Roberts. Who do we like? I don't know how. I think he's on the same weight program as Yoel Romero. This guy's also fucking jacked out of his mind.
Yeah.
But I like Rude Boy. Don.
I don't know, man. I don't know who they are. Sorry.
Sean.
Same thing, man. It's a sad thing when not only do I not know who they are, I don't even know any of the guys you've said they've beaten. Like, so it's like I don't know. Like when I was in the UFC, more so when Don was in, you knew every fighter in the UFC when Don was there because there was only like 30 of them, like that had made it. But I think when I was in the UFC, there was only 90 to 100 fighters or something like that total signed, or whatever in each, like total divisions, everything. Now I think they've got 900 guys under contract, and it's impossible to even keep track of who's who, man. It's they always bitch about, the guys want 165-pound division, and they say, oh, it'll thin out the 155, 170 division. Like they probably should be thinned out. You know what I mean? You got 400 guys at 155, and they're signing 5 every week with Dana White's show, plus the Ultimate Fighter, and plus stealing all Bellator's fighters when they got good ones. It's like that's why guys are only fighting once a year, man. It's ridiculous.
So also on the card, Sodiq Youssef, who grew up in Africa under some kind of polygamy thing where he had like 5 moms and 1 dad. But
Nice.
they each slept in different rooms, the moms. So it wasn't like he was just like Hugh Hefner with 5 chicks. It was like different one. But then his mom.
Nice to know there were some rules.
Right. It's more traditional.
Exactly. Listen, it's not what you think, though. It's very traditional. It's not a constant orgy. It's not a gangbang. They all have their own rooms. It's very respectful. He goes room to room. Come on.
Don, could you live with 5 of your exes?
No fucking way. I couldn't live with one of them. I don't want to be on the same planet as them.
What about you, Sean?
Yeah, no, when I talked to my divorce lawyer a long time ago, after I got divorced, I told him I was done. Like I really was never dating anybody again, never anything. And then he told me literally, unless you can get used to the idea of sucking dick, you better throw that plan away. He said, because you're not going to go without having sex. You're not going to have sex unless you're dating girls. He said, so, you know what I mean? You might as well figure out something. But yeah, I don't know. That's what I'll tell you what, people, these guys that want to live, like they crack me up. Like they want to have like 5 or 6 women. Like, dude, is one not enough headache? Like you need 5, you know what I mean? Like it's, and compete with each other, no less at the same time. Like,
But I remember back in the day when I was trying to meet girls on Tinder, I would just copy and paste like everything,
yeah, I've been there.
But sometimes I would actually forget that to like change the name. So I would be like, hey, Jennifer. And the girl with name was like, I'm married, you asshole.
I remember when you would do that. I would watch you. Adam would be in the back of the club, sitting there waiting to either go back up or waiting to go on. And he'd just be like, I'm like, and I would look over like, what are you doing? He goes, I just cut and paste. I just post in the same thing every time. You would be just pasting shit in there.
There was a guy.
You ever have one Adam catch you? Like, how did you respond so fast? Like, how are you typing so fast? I'm like, oh shit.
Dude, I would just copy and paste their interests. If they'd be like, I'm looking for a man who's blah, blah, I'd be like, hey, I happen to be a man who's whatever. I'm like, this is ridiculous. Dude, I knew a guy that invented the automatic swipe righter. Like, so he.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about that. He created an app.
He swiped right on everybody.
Yeah. And I was like, that's genius. Yeah, like just on it. And just if it's a numbers game, then yeah, just swipe right on everybody and then just see what comes back to. I mean, pure ridiculousness.
It was the same guy. I forgot the guy's name. Kenny. His name is Kenny something. He's from Arizona. He was a heavyweight. He was like one of the best high school wrestlers. Then he went to college and he was like, got kicked out of ASU, I think, for having girls do webcamming. Like he had college girls do webcamming, and he split the money with them.
Nice.
That doesn't seem illegal.
Dude, it seems like he should get an honorary business degree. That's what that sounds like.
He was into Bitcoin like 20 years ago. Like, but no one knew what Bitcoin was. He had Bitcoin machines. His dad was one of the judges who, like, I think left.
So wait, he had Bitcoin machines. So it sounds like he knew nothing about Bitcoin too.
I think I'm pretty sure the guy's father was the one who let Casey Anthony off, like the judge, like or like crazy, right? But then he figured out that he's like something McCorkle would do. He was 1/80th America Samoan or something, right?
Right.
So they didn't have an Olympic team in wrestling. So he started the Olympic wrestling team in America Samoa and got uniforms made because he was the only guy on the team. Because he was like the 4,000th best wrestler in the U.S., but they didn't have a team, so he tried to represent them, and they kicked him out so quick of the fucking Olympic committee. Like he showed up with America Samoan.
That's something, Adam, I never told. That's something I never told you guys or anyone. I actually qualified for the Abu Dhabi, like the national the real one, the grappling qualifiers, and made it to. It's in New Jersey, right across the bridge. It's not in Newark, but it's right. I don't know, right there by New York City. I can see the Empire State Building from my hotel, and I went there and I finished like in the top 5. But everybody was like, "You don't even train jiu-jitsu for like a couple months, and you made it all the way to the Abu Dhabi qualifiers." But I never told anybody. Only 4 guys showed up for my division on the regional qualifier. So I only had to beat 2 guys to be the regional champion. So yeah, like I just beat 2 guys that weren't very good and made it all the way to the Abu Dhabis. Then I ended up getting beat by some college wrestler there by referee decision. But yeah, that's where I met Roy Nelson. I remember the first time I'd ever seen or heard of Roy Nelson, and I was like laughing. He was getting ready to grapple. And I was like, yeah, I wonder how this one will go. Like started laughing because he looks out of shape. And next thing I know, like he took off running, took a dude down real fast and submitted him like in 30 seconds. Some real big muscle bound dude. I was like, holy shit. That's before obviously his UFC days or anything. But yeah, him and he lost to Mario Rinaldi. I don't know if you remember him.
Yeah.
He was a heavyweight. Yeah, they were in the final, but I finished in the top 5. For training jiu-jitsu for like 6 months. But I made it to the top 8 just by winning my region against 2 guys that sucked. So
Roy Nelson, there was a video of him kicking the crap in jiu-jitsu out of Frank Mir.
Yeah.
Like, you know how good Frank Mir is? I mean, beasting through Frank Mir. Like, that's the guy that, I mean, Roy Nelson could have been so good. And he was still very good and obviously went very far. But I remember on The Ultimate Fighter, I still laugh sometimes to myself because remember that year they brought out Kimbo Slice as a special guest?
Yeah.
And then they go to Roy Nelson. He's like, I thought that he was already announced on the show. Like, he was already there. And he goes, I thought they were going to say it was me. Like, they would have announced him like, again.
He was serious.
He was serious. And then Dana White, who couldn't stand him, he goes, I remember he made the finals. Dana was so pissed he made the finals. He goes, Roy Nelson really impressed himself this year.
Right.
By the way, Greg, so we talked about, Sean, before we got on, there's a comedian that we know that said the N-word on a cruise ship, and he's now, banned from Carnival. I sent you the whole thing, right? So I've been, Greg, I called up like 3 of my friends. Like, I blocked my number. You press *67, you can block your number. So I called up like Mike Estime, some black comedians, as him. And I'm like, hey, this is Rob. You don't know me, but we both worked at Carnival. And I know that you say the N-word in your act. Can you vouch for me and say it's okay?
Oh my God.
And like my friend Mike Estime is like, no, because I'm black. You're not. I'm like, yeah, but we're both comedians. And he's like, yeah, but no, I can't do that, my man. And he's like, but is there any way? What if I give? And like, partner, I'm like, it's me, you asshole. Like, I'm bad. People are like, Adam, you're a fucking dick. Like, hang up.
I'm just a little sad to hear that I got to cancel my cruise on this fall that I had planned with them. If you're not allowed to say the N-word, if you say the N-word, you're not allowed to go. So.
You remember when like Kramer flipped out? Remember when?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, there's like the funniest thing is there's a guy named Fraser Smith who's like this old school, the nicest comic you met, like just like an old, like the clean, nice corporate comic. So he had to go on after that, after the Kramer thing, and in the video. So after Kramer says, but then he gets back on, he goes, because no one else wanted to close the show. Everyone's like, there was like 6 comics. Like, I'm not. So he goes on, he goes, that's comedy.
We've all been there.
Dude, then like Dice goes, they asked Dice about what Kramer did, and he goes, honestly, I think that should be his new act. like that, like he should tour as like, can you imagine?
I like how you guys and everyone else refers to him as Kramer when that's not even his name. Like everybody just calls him Kramer. Like even when Dave Chappelle was talking about it, I was like, oh yeah, Kramer was having a bad set. Like everyone just calls him Kramer.
Oh yeah, of course. So also John Castaneda's fighting this weekend. He came to my show in Minnesota with his girlfriend who got offended and left the show, and he like stayed during the show.
Nice.
It's always like, I guess they're not together anymore. She was pretty hot. I'm not gonna lie. Alir Latifi, who is 15-8, is taking on Alexei Olnik, who's 60-16-1. He's
I thought you were just saying he was 60. I was like, that sounds about right.
Close.
He looks it.
He's 45.
Alexei is.
He's 45. He's coming off a win over Jared Vandera by scarf hold. Before that, he lost.
That ranks right up there with Terror.
That's a damn shame they fought during the winter. He probably would have gotten out.
I was gonna say, how did he even sneak that scarf into the ring? That's amazing. They checked the
like,
cup.
I want a rematch next spring.
Yeah, exactly. They checked the cup. They checked the mouthpiece. They didn't check to see if it had a scarf hidden there in the back.
I like back in WWE, there was always a foreign object. It was a foreign, like nobody knew what it was. It was a foreign. My favorite guy was the guy who's the guy, Don, that swallowed something and he would spit it in your face.
Great Muda.
Was that the guy? He was just like in the middle of the match. He would like just spray like some kind of
Great Muda, Great Kabuki. Yeah, there's a couple of them.
Oh, what was that he was? What? How did he do that?
A condom. He carried a condom in his mouth, full of just green, green dye or something.
I thought you were gonna say it's full of Vince McMahon's jizz.
Yeah,
and everyone knows condoms taste delicious.
Wait, it really was a condom?
Yeah, carry it in his cheek. That way, he can rest on it and then bite it.
Don, did you ever cut yourself?
No, not intentionally. No.
Did anybody ever ask you, like in a wrestling match, hey, here's like a blade. Do you mind if I cut you? Or
no, fuck no, nobody ever did. I don't know why.
Now, Sean, WWE offered you a contract?
Yeah, it wasn't like a super official thing. They had a guy reach out to me who did a lot of their scouting stuff, had me come to a couple of events, like regional shows, and sign autographs and meet some of the other wrestlers and stuff. And then he kind of explained to me how it works, like what they pay. They said they'd start me out like a couple $1,000s a week. I had to move to Tampa to learn how to wrestle for between 6 and 18 months, depending on how fast I picked it up. And they actually had heard of me. They'd seen a couple of my interviews, and then they didn't believe they weren't scripted. Like they couldn't believe I made up some of my funnier interviews. That's the first thing they said is like, did you write that yourself? And I was like, right, what? They said, your interview. I said, it's not written. And he was like, wait, you mean to tell me this interview you did? Because I did the one where I said I killed my grandma, smothered her with a pillow. I don't know if you've ever seen that interview, but I said I smothered her with a pillow to end her suffering at the end of cancer. And it was, I don't know, there was some Percocet and shots involved that night. And but I had a real funny interview, and that was the one that I guess attracted them because they thought I was like writing and scripting the interviews. When they found out I made up off the top of my head, then they were interested. But yeah, they offered me like a developmental deal. Like I said, it wasn't official, but I told them, they said it was 300 nights a year on the road, no exceptions. And I was like, well, how about half the nights for half the money? Like, and they were like, no. And I was like, I'm just not leaving my kids, man. I'm not like, I can't be on the road 300 nights a year. I actually talked to the original Big Sexy, Kevin Nash, about it and asked him what he thought about it. And he said, asked me if I had kids, asked me if I was married, all this and that. And he goes, well, this is what I can tell you. He goes, I got a really nice house worth a couple $1 million. I got a boat. I got this and that. My son hates me. My wife hates me. And I wasn't part of his childhood. I wasn't, this or that. My body's shot. He's like giving me all the negatives of it. And he said, if you can do anything else, I would do something else, which actually I wasn't going to do the 300 nights a year anyway. But he didn't make it sound that glamorous, the WWE lifestyle. So.
Every one of those documentaries, every wrestler like had no relationship with their kid, second or third wife. And like what's also said is they now a lot of them are like remarried and they're like, oh, I have a new kid now, so all the attention I couldn't give to my first kid, I can now do it over with my new kid. Like, man, that's gotta make your fucking first kid feel even better, like, holy fuck, man.
Well, I think usually that first kid is dead from the drug overdose or suicide, so they usually let that lets the guilt go off a little bit. But yeah, no, it's a terrible. Vince McMahon is an odd guy, man. They said Brock Lesnar is the only one that ever got a reduced schedule of all those guys. He was the only one that could ever negotiate a reduced schedule. Like Vince McMahon wanted you to work as much as he was going to work, and he was a, redefined workaholic. So it's crazy. So this week, Jessica Penny is fighting Tabitha Ritchie. Should give you a good fight. Tabitha's nickname is the Baby Shark. She's coming off a win over Polyana Viana. She lost to Manon Fiora. Jessica I is a girl that she's got great jiu-jitsu. She has permanent resting bitch face. I like her a lot. She's a friend of mine. I even met her mom. I'm like, your daughter is mean. She's like, I know. She's she's super cool. She's definitely a good friend to have. And she tested positive for a bunch of shit, but I don't even know what. I don't believe that she actually was taking this stuff. I think it was
Jessica Penne?
Yeah, I think that she didn't know what was in some of these smoothies or something.
Someone should have told her that if you want to be a champion, you take drugs well before you start your MMA career, and then you get beat up by your boyfriend, then you become a champion. You don't take drugs while trying to work your way up.
Right. Steroids. I mean, that's how I have a steroid. Yeah. Not for that. And then Randy Casas fighting Guido Ganetti, and Chelsea Chandler is taking on Julia. What are you laughing about?
Guido, his given name or his fighting nickname? Guido
His given name is, dude.
Guido Getty sounds like one of the guys that would be Mayweather's bodyguard. He's one of those two little twin dudes.
Remember after 9/11, all these Italian guys were going around trying to find Arab people that lived in New York to beat them up. It was the stupidest shit I've ever seen. It was all on the news.
I think that was before 9/11 also, to be honest with you. But I'm sure 9/11 didn't help.
People had nothing to do with 9/11. But these guys let's go find some fucking guy. It was the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life. But these Italian guys, it was crazy. I
find it hard to believe a group of Italians would ever resort to violence. That's a rarity.
So, all right. So also on this
how much is our audience wishing we talk about global warming again?
Oh, you missed it. you missed the global warming debate between Don.
Oh God, I wish I didn't know when you sent the link, Adam. I didn't get the link till 3:25. That's when
I think you're not getting the group ones for some reason, because we're getting your responses. But so I'll just for now on.
Yeah, because I resent it again too. So.
Yeah, I got it twice, but one was at 3:25, one at 3:28 was when I got the two links. I thought you guys were just leaving me out this week.
No,
no, that's next week.
So, so Bo Nickel is fighting tonight. So he's the guy that was amazing wrestler, Greg. This dude is I think he second or third alternate to the Olympics, national champion.
Yeah, I remember the name, Bo Nickel.
So he's 2-0 in MMA. But he's such a good wrestler that they're giving him another shot on Dana White's Contender. The first fight he won in 12 seconds. It wasn't even close, but Dana wasn't convinced that he's the guy for some reason. Yeah.
I don't think it's that Dana's not convinced. I think they figured out that they can make people fight on the Contender Series for virtually nothing, for $500, and they can you know what I mean? Have them fight. Oh, we're going to give you another shot on the Contender Series. And just keep saving that money every week.
That's every reality show. These naked and afraid people, they get $1,000 or something. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Plus, they don't even give them any clothes, and they make them afraid. That doesn't sound like a good deal at all.
That's what I'm saying. They go out there, sacrifice their sanity, their bodies, their dignity, everything. They're here's $1,000. Thanks for playing. So
he posted a video of him training, which was pretty damn funny. So basically, he reminds me of Don Frye a little bit. Well, actually, not really. But he is just moving forward while the guy is So this is Bo Nickel. Greg Hardy posted it. Greg Hardy, by the way, is now doing boxing. He's now doing heavyweight boxing, which
right.
Naturally.
And then, but the big question is, what's he going to do after boxing? I mean, that's a good 6 weeks from now. We should start planning for that.
So, all right. So, can you guys see this?
Yeah.
So this is Bo Nickel. So he basically just takes headshots.
Yeah. He just practices getting hit in the head on his way in.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
Well, at least he figured out his strengths. He's like, what's going to be easier than learning to block punches? Just learn how to take them in the head.
God.
I hope his opponent's wearing hand pads. I hope that.
Oh, people or something, aren't they?
Don, what do you think of the Adam Levine text?
About what?
So Adam Levine.
Will you ask about something he knows, like global warming, or
so Adam Levine? Are you a big fan of Maroon 5?
Who?
All right, there's a band called Maroon 5, right? They're a very big band. They've had many hits, and their lead singer is this good-looking guy, Adam Levine, who basically he was on The Voice. He was like a kind of like America's like boy. Women loved him. Good-looking guy, dated all kinds of celebrities between like Cameron Diaz and this one and that one, and all these Victoria's Secret models. And so he finally settled down to this one Victoria's Secret model, this beautiful girl. And it came out that he's been sending lots of texts to girls who are not his girlfriend, to Instagram models, to YouTube models, and everyone. Fuck. So one girl made a video saying Adam Levine basically, took advantage of kind of like, I was new to LA. I didn't really know what was going on. We had a relationship for a year, and made a whole video about it, right? So everyone started making fun of her video, saying I had no idea. It was 2 weeks ago. I was much younger back then. So then it kind of backfired on her. And now she also has an OnlyFans, which I guess is free for this month. But now there's like 5 women now that Adam Levine has been texting to. But some of these texts are just not very cool. But in his defense, they've always worked for him. So
you're saying in his defense, he's Adam Levine. I hate it when people like look at somebody who's like really famous and rich and good looking, and they're like, the guy's got no game. It's like, yeah, you need game. So he's rich and famous and handsome and fucking built. He doesn't need game.
So he says, look, I use poor judgment in speaking with anyone other than my wife in any kind of flirtatious manner. I did not have an affair. Nonetheless, I crossed the line during a regrettable period of my life. So that's what, and his wife's pregnant.
That regrettable period from birth to
caught.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I'm shocked to find out he's straight. That blows my mind. I thought he was gay.
But I guess when he texted this girl, he goes, okay, serious question. I guess he hadn't talked to her in a while. And he goes, I'm having another baby. And if it's a boy, I really want to name it Summer. Are you okay with that? Because that was the girl's name. So he wanted to name the baby after the girl.
But it was a boy, though, right? He was a boy and name it Summer.
Yeah, he said dead serious, right? So then he
what
also
a fucking idiot.
and he's also been texting girls saying, "Hey, you are so fucking hot. You're so fucking hot. Like your body is absurd." And then people have been posting that meme and then making a whole game of it,
including Adam, who's posted like 9 or 10 of them now. So
you're so hot, someone should have named you Summer.
I gotta take off, guys. I love you guys. I gotta go. I've been trying to tell you for a few minutes now. It's 1 o'clock. I got a jam. I got to move to the next thing. I'll be in Vegas at the Dirty at 12:30 and the House of Blues on Friday night. House of Blues at 8 o'clock at the Mandalay Bay, and then Dirty at 12:30, which is a free open show there at the South Point Casino. And later on this month, I'll be both at JP's Comedy Club in Phoenix and Laughs in Tucson. So, Don, maybe I'll see you again, buddy.
Yeah, when's that?
I'll check the calendar, but it's coming up the end of October, so I'll be sure and let you know.
All right, cool.
Take care.
All right, brother. Take care, guys.
See you, man.
So, it just it is it's crazy that he'd be dumb enough though to DM Instagram models, because those girls are looking for clout and fame, and it's like
they're loaded down with integrity. Yeah, that's it.
I
love how she's like, he took advantage of me. Here I am posting half-naked pictures of myself trying to get famous, and a famous rock star hits me up, and I have sex with him. Like, what kind of shit is this? Like,
but I do want to hear his. I kind of do want to hear what he was thinking. Maybe he was in a fucked up relationship where they were on a break or something, or like.
Yeah, probably not. It's like
so,
Tiger Woods. Like maybe Tiger Woods was just having a rough patch in his marriage when he banged 600 women.
Yeah, but he actually banged those women. Like Adam Levine didn't actually like. It just seems like. All right, so hold on. Let me play the because I want Don. I need Don's actual opinion of this. I think the world needs to know what Don Frye thinks of this right here. So here we go. All right, Don. This girl. We got
with Triple A Smart Home, a fully integrated.
I can make you watch the ads. Whoever says like they're gonna stick and watch the ads. By the way, how much time do you have? Like, why wouldn't you just like skip the ad?
Crazy, man.
All right, here we go. Sean, did you ever send flirty messages when you were married?
Get started.
No, dude, I don't even like when I have a girlfriend, I don't even go to Hooters. Like I don't like I'm extremely loyal, man. I'm not like a lot of people that sneak around and shit, I'm like I don't nothing, not even a flirty message, not anything, not
all right, so here you go, Don.
Essentially, I was having an affair with a man who's married to a Victoria's Secret model. At the time, I was young, I was naive, and I mean, quite frankly, I feel exploited. I wasn't in the scene like I am now. So I was definitely very easily manipulated. Maroon 5 is practically elevator music at this point. So I'm sure you know who Adam Levine is. But Adam and I were seeing each other for about a year. After I stopped talking to him over, a period of months, this is how he came back into my life. He said, okay, serious question. I'm having another baby, and if it's a boy, I really want to name it Sumner. You okay with that? Dead serious. I was like, I'm in hell. Like, I have to be in hell at this point. I mean, my morals were unknowingly compromised. I was completely manipulated. I'm going to tell this privately. I never wanted to come forward because obviously I know the implications that come with doing what I do, making money the way I do, and being an Instagram model. So being tied to a story like this, it's like, I know the stereotypes. I had sent some screenshots recklessly to a few friends I thought I trusted, and one of them had attempted to sell to a tabloid. So here I am.
If I was him, the first thing I would ask is why the long face.
What'd you say, Don?
I'm a victim of life. Everything I do, it's somebody else's fault.
I mean, right?
No accountability.
She's got to take ownership of that. She had an affair. She cheated. He cheated. They're both wrong. But what is this? I was a victim of I mean, what were you a victim of? I mean, she had an affair for a year. Come on. Give me a break. And then she insults the guy's music, saying it's elevator music. That was uncalled for. So I don't know.
I'm blown away at some of these guys. Like that's the best Adam Levine can do. Like that chick's not even good looking. Like that's the. I don't know. I don't know. I think he's gay. I think a lot of people are gay, but I always his pants are way too tight. Like no straight man wears pants that tight everywhere you go. But yeah, there's no. I don't know. There's no way that like he could probably fit Dominic Cruz's pants. Like like I'm guessing. They probably trade him out, but yeah, no, like I'm always amazed. Or even the girls like Tiger Woods was banging or whatever. Like, dude, seriously, that's the best Tiger Woods can do. You're a billionaire. Like,
I think there were hundreds of more that just didn't come forward.
Yes,
probably married and this and that. Like all the porn stars came forward, or like the couple of the waitresses or something. I mean, Don, why should we feel bad for that girl? I mean,
I don't feel bad at all. I think she's got no morals that she likes to claim she has. She has no integrity. So fuck her, shit. she's like every other woman on the planet, you know.
Well, no, there are girls with morals and integrity. So it's not like every other girl on the planet. But I think
show me 10. Show me 10.
That reminds me. What's that story in the Bible where God is going to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah? And I don't know, Abraham or somebody was like, "No, God, please don't do it." He was like, "Show me 10 holy men, and I'll save the city." And then he went and couldn't find 10. And then he's like, God's like, "Show me 5 holy men." He couldn't find 5. And he's like, "Show me 1 holy man." And he came back. He's like, "You're right. You're gonna have to destroy the city. I got nothing."
So we have to find 10 women that have integrity for Don.
You got the whole planet. You got a planet. Go for it. Let's see it.
I can name 10 women that have integrity.
I'll start with my mom.
No, you being on this planet disqualifies her automatically.
I guess, yeah, by association, she might be disqualified.
All right. So finally, Bellator this week. And are you guys watching Bellator this week?
I didn't even know it was on.
It's in Los Angeles. Bellator this week. It's actually a good card. They actually have a good card this week.
Will they give you tickets to Bellator? I would assume they would, Adam, just like the UFC would give you tickets, don't you think, or not?
Well, they did for a while, but then they had like some of them got mad at me for making fun of them all the time. It depends on who's in charge. So this week it's Patricio Pitbull versus Adam Borix, title fight. I always get confused on like the pit bulls, which ones are which. But
I was going to say it's nice to see somebody fighting with an original fight nickname for once.
AJ McKee, who was undefeated, who lost to Pitbull, even though he beat him in 30 seconds. I lost a rematch against Spike Carlisle. You know that guy? He's the guy that went into bare knuckle boxing, was in the UFC, was always gassing out. Looks like a redheaded Uriah Faber. It's like
that's an awesome image in and of itself.
That's bragging rights.
And then Aaron Pico is fighting Jeremy Kennedy. Pico is the guy that was like the best wrestler in high school. They rushed him out. And then he fought him his first fight at Madison Square Garden. He got knocked out. He ended up going like 4-4. Since then, he's won his last 8. He's now with Greg Jackson. Super Christian, nice guy. Finally figured out how to fight, because in the beginning he was just thought he was a boxer and was getting knocked out half the time. And Juan Archuleta, who was in jail in college for a while. I don't know what he did, but something crazy. He's a good guy. He's got a hot wife, 3 kids.
Hey, was he in jail in college, or was he in college while he was in jail? That could be either way. A lot of guys in jail go to college while they're in there, and then some guys get in trouble while they're in college.
I haven't talked to Mayhem in a while. I heard he's doing better. He's in some program now where they're going to make him a fireman in jail. I guess there's a fire department in jail, and if you're a prisoner, you get twice time served if you join the fire department.
They double your sentence.
No, they cut it in half.
It's weird because like a firemen are like 3 days on, 2 days off. Like in there, it's just 5 days on, 5 days on. Like you just keep working.
Well, I don't know how much. Why are there fires in jail anyway? But I feel like he's the one starting the fire.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's more likely he would start a fire than put one out in prison.
So Mayhem, he's doing well though. He's in. I guess he's whenever I talk to him when he's in jail, he sounds amazing because they got him on the right medication. It's when he leaves that he takes the wrong amount of medication. And then Juan Archuleta is taking on Enrique Barzola. Wasn't that the guy in Naked Gun that remember he was a referee?
O.J. Simpson?
No, he was the umpire. Wasn't he? Enrique. He goes. Remember, he was the Enrique Palazzo. That was the guy's name. So that's going on this week. Also in Invicta FC, I guess they're back on Access TV, which is good. I have Access TV, very underrated network. They have all kinds of cool concerts and shit. And then I think they have I think D. Snyder has a reality show on there. So hold on, where can I find that? Invicta also. So they're MMA Junkie. Where can I find the Invicta card? Are you gonna watch Invicta?
No.
No. No, I'm not.
Mike Perry got into a fight on Russian TV. So I guess he's fighting in Russia.
I think he's no. Who wasn't he over there cornering Alex Nicholson? I think wasn't he? Was that it?
Is that what
I
happened?
know Alex Nicholson is fighting over in Russia either this last weekend or this weekend. He's supposed to be fighting over in Russia, and I think I thought he said Perry was cornering him. I could be wrong.
Oh, that'd be kind of cool. So this week, Jessica Delboni is taking on Jillian DeCourcy. Invicta also, this girl, Caitlin Neal, who's like smoking hot, is taking on Hannah Guy. Both were on the Ultimate Fighter. And Brittany Cloudy is taking on Montserrat Rendon. I know you guys are all very excited about that for Invicta. So what do you have coming up, Don?
Hell, I knew earlier. Now I don't know. We've just bombarded my brain with so much intelligent information these last couple hours here.
I'm still trying to figure out how there's a fire department in jail and how Mayhem became the fire chief. That's where you guys left me.
It's kind of like being a fire chief on a submarine. Yeah.
You know, I saw something the other day that cracked me up. I was watching, you know how they have to clickbait these videos, and it was like 10 incidences the UFC wishes they could erase from history. And I was like, okay, let me see what this is. So one of them is like John Jones when he's pulled over by the police, slamming his head against the police car. One of them is, what's his name? A War Machine beating up Christy Mack. And then one of them is Don Frye punching a fan at a UFC event.
Oh, come on.
I about pissed my pants. I started laughing so hard. Like, really? That's one of the top 10 things the UFC wishes they could erase from their history, you know, or whatever. It was the most ridiculous thing ever.
Yeah, because I got more publicity than the fight did. The whole card did. That's why.
Yeah. Well, if I had my choice to see a Don Frye street fight or a UFC event with these cards I've been putting on, I'll take the Don Frye street fight any day. So
1,000%. So Sean, what do you got coming up?
Nothing. Just same old stuff, man. Just living the dream. So
any dogs left?
No, I sold all those, and I got one I'm probably gonna end up putting to sleep, I think, because he's turning vicious. So that's a bad idea. But to have a pit bull that big that's getting mean. But no, other than that, man, I'm getting ready to go. Oh, I am getting ready to go to Germany again in the next month or so. I can't take my back anymore, man. So I'm just going to go ahead and drop the money. I hit them up and asked them what they would do it for, like what's the absolute best price. It really sucks to talk to a doctor who's used to only seeing celebrities, because like when Dana White referred me there, I asked Dana, I was like, hey, Dana, do you know how much they charged you because you've been there 4 times to have stuff done? He goes, oh, I don't know. And I was like, I mean, just ballpark figure. Do you have any idea what that procedure costs? He goes, I couldn't tell you. And I thought, man, it must be nice to have so much money that you have no clue how much a medical procedure is that you did 4 times. Like you don't, yeah. I said like 100,000 or 5,000. You have no idea. He said, no idea what they charged me. So I was like, that must be nice. But yeah, they said since I went the first time and didn't have the results that were expected, they cut me a break. So I'm going to go over there. And since can't pass the psych evaluation here to get the spinal cord stimulator, I'm going to do that and try to feel better for 6 to 9 months again. And then try to figure out what my next move is from there. So
I guess Dana took a test. He went on John Orlando's podcast.
Yeah, that was something, wasn't it?
And said that he has 10 and a half years to live.
Yeah, they said the guy has like a 99% accuracy rate based on your blood, your DNA, all these tests, your family history can tell you within a month of how long you're going to live. That's kind of craziness, man.
You think he kills people though? Like right before your time's up? Like he's like a serial killer? It says
yeah, that's how he built his reputation. Like, guy's got to go. He's going to beat the odds. But no, they, man, if you research like artificial intelligence and algorithms and things like that, that's really what's going to be so dangerous about AI. They always talk about how it ain't going to be like Terminator. It's going to be like they're getting the ability to foretell the future. Like they really are. They can tell based on if they have enough information, they know. They said in the future they're going to be able to have a pizza on its way to your house before you even order it, because they know based on their algorithm formulas that someone your age in your demographic on a certain night and based on your purchase history, and they're going to be right like 99% of the time, So with them being able to do that, it's they're literally going to be able to foretell the future, like how long you're going to live with 99% accuracy, like how, just the more information they have and are able to do that. That's what's scary. It's scary to me anyway, man, that they can, you see on your phone tells you, I'll be thinking, man, I wouldn't mind buying an ATV, and I get I wouldn't even say it. I'll think it, and 10 minutes later, I get a advertisement for an ATV, like on my phone or whatever. So I'm like, either their AI is getting really, really good, or they're reading my mind. It's one of the two. You know,
I was talking about Action Park with my wife. I'm like, I want to, and then next thing I'm on TikTok, it's like a commercial for Action Park, and then I watch.
Yeah, they're definitely listening to you, but it's scary, man. It really is. It's there was some on 60 Minutes about it. I'll send you the link to this guy did this thing about AI and about how they are literally going to be able to predict the future. It's crazy.
Well, next October 14th to the 16th, I'm going to be in Vegas at the Skank Fest at the Legion, the Legion of Skanks.
Sounds like you're going to meet Adam Levine there.
And then October 17th, I'm doing the Scott Baio charity golf tournament. Not for Scott Baio, but for a charity he puts on. And then October 20th to the 23rd, I'm at the Laugh Factory in Reno, Nevada. So anyway, you guys are the best. I'll see you guys next week. I love you guys. Take care.
Thanks, bud.